Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker. My cold is about where you would expect it to be. I'm gonna pop a cough drop just, I don't know. The air is a little dry in here and I don't want to risk it scratching up my throat or anything, but yeah. Anyway, ball pit progress, which is why we're here. It's been positive, to say the least. So as you can see, things have rearranged a bit, but we now have as many buildings as can be affected by the tactician's house, and that includes all of these ones that can be upgraded infinitely. So the Grand Museum, the Warriors Guild, which one is this? Capitolium. We've got the Wagon Factory, which that one's funny to me. Got the Marksman's Guild, which I will now go on record as saying, yeah, I think dexterity is probably the most important stat in the game. And then back here we have the hospital. So yeah. So I am currently working my way up to another achievement. But I also want to show you guys what is, at least as of right now, the last level in the game, and talk about some stuff that I think would be interesting to see in it. There we go. Let's go ahead and just harvest again. Finish making these gold mines. All right. Let's see what everyone's actually do that. I'm just looking to see if there's any other characters that have an effect on the gold mine. And it doesn't look like they do. Alright, now let's do one more harvest. There we go. Gold miner! Yay! I don't even think I need this many people working in gold mines, so... Like, honestly, I could probably just dismantle these at this point. I got the achievement, and honestly, the best way to get gold is by selling stuff at the market anyway. We'll just put those over there for now. Now, let's get to the main event. Alright, and I think Alright, we're gonna take the old makeshift Sisyphus, and I want to show you guys the final stage. At least the final stage as of right now, because this could always change in the future. Like, this game got huge, and I would be surprised if there was just no DLC coming. That would honestly throw me for a loop. So as you can see, one of the things that's different on this stage is that all of the enemies are rounded, so how your shots bounce off of them is just awkward at all times. Also, if I didn't tell you guys how makeshift Sisyphus works, then I should say this guy doesn't get any of the baby shots, so no baby balls. And also his shots don't do direct damage, but any AoE or status effect damage is improved by 4 times. Part of the problem with the opening volley of choices that I got there was that there was just nothing there that was particularly good for, not just for like combining with the earthquake shot, but just in general for this character. So I originally was thinking, well, maybe I can start going down the charm route, maybe make the Satan ball, but it doesn't seem likely, especially since I would just be locked into horrible, horrible choices. Alright, so looks like right now my options... Well, I kind of didn't want to take that, but alright. Cool, we'll do that and pretend like I didn't just make a catastrophic mistake there. Alright, other things that are different with this level, other than the idea that the enemies have rounded shapes, which, as you can see, makes aiming your shots a real treat. You'll also see that there are wormholes just on the ground that can just throw things off. Okay, this is turning into a bad run. Mistakes were made and they're catching up with me. Whatever. Yeah, there's one of those wormholes. Sage, can you go through the wormholes yourself? You can, actually. Doesn't really help you very much, but yes, you can. Yeah, the things that make this character difficult are just that there's so many shot choices that just aren't good for this character. And even in the process of making some of these stronger fusions, which, yes, would still be good for this character, it just turns into this issue of how many shots can I take that don't do anything. Like, it just ends up being a problem. Then you stack on top of that the idea that these enemies are super tanky. Alright, let's go ahead and make Holy Laser now. We're starting to do a little better now after some mistakes in the early game. Ow. You like hit something? All right, let's have a look. Yep, we'll take that, and then we'll just have to make sure that we work on trying to keep the light effect as it is. Because there are things that I can combine it with that would remove that status effect, and we just don't want that. At this point, I don't even know if I can make that. Yeah, I don't want to make Love Struck. That is a status effect that I find myself going, I don't know about that one. This is actually a character I don't have that many issues with. I'm just not performing super well right now. But ultimately, do I think that this stage is harder or the Heavenly Gates stage? And I will still go on record as saying I think Heavenly Gates is the harder stage. Even with the idea that this is definitely the harder boss. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But now let's move on to while we're breakouting these strange rounded enemies. What sorts of things would I like to see from Ball Pit in the future? Because, let's be real, this game definitely has a future. It has been a consistently high-performing game from the moment it came out, so... So, for starters, I would love to see some different stage archetypes, though I'm not sure, what sorts of, new buildings they could add, but we definitely have space in the town to add in a couple of buildings. And one thing that comes to mind for me, because this is pretty much the lifeblood of the game, is I would like to see something that makes it so that maybe in some way or another you get one or two more fusion reactors, on your runs. And obviously you couldn't make that infinitely upgradable, but so I would say make it so that your fusion reactor, you get one or two more fusion reactors during your runs, or maybe even make it... Let's see. Alright, I'm gonna take a couple of rerolls, see if I can't... Okay, so yes, we can get that to happen. Let's go ahead and fuse this with this. Means in order to make the ball I'm thinking, the Satan ball, I need another charm. Though it's also very possible that I'm well past the time frame to make that, so maybe I should have just taken poison. Especially since Dark has no effect on this character, trying to make the Satan shot on this character is just a pain in the ass. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. Let's take the path of least resistance and try to make Noxious, because that will be effective on this character. See, another thing that I notice isn't a part of the game as it stands right now is we have no character where Charm is their base shot. Which got me to thinking, okay, so what about some sort of, model or, enchantress or, maybe even go so far as to be, a clothing designer or something. Maybe what we have is, a fashionista or something like that. Someone whose primary stats would be either leadership and intelligence, and them being kind of a charisma-based character, or maybe be a dancer. Should have waited. I'm just getting impatient because I've made so many bad shot choices with makeshift Sisyphus here. Like, I'm 100% showing you guys what not to do with this character. I would also be lying, though, if I said that this character was easy. Like if you look at your end of level damage breakdowns, those little baby balls that don't do a ton of damage by themselves, they contribute more than you think they do. Take lightning, because that will actually do damage. I gotta grab this. Like, the idea that the baby balls make up so much of your damage is actually one of the reasons why I say the empty nester is one of the most difficult characters in the game. And this character is no exception. This character is also very difficult to use. You can tell by just how much the enemies are chanting and how close they're getting to the bottom of the screen. I've spent most of this run on the back foot. So I might do another void run just to show you guys what it looks like when you don't suck at the game. Pardon me. So, can I see why people would say this is the hardest level in the game, though? Well, sure. A lot of it is because of the odd shape of the enemies, like shots that you've been taking through the entire game to get up here don't work the same way that they used to, because there's the ever-present possibility that because of the enemy's rounded edges, you're just going to completely miss. Or that your shots are going to bounce in such a way that it's like, get what's happening! So I get it, but I just think because of how much emphasis the enemies in the Heavenly Gates stage put on their own self-preservation instead of just being awkward, like it really makes them stand out to me. But now, as for... So I already shared one idea that I wouldn't mind seeing for, like, an additional character, like one that starts with the charm ball. Maybe for a stage, we do something, instead of, like, just being, like, space-themed, maybe we do something like Abyss-themed. Like, maybe just a stage where the enemies are more Lovecraftian than just awkward. Call it something like the... Or maybe you just straight up call it the color out of space. But then the issue becomes, what sorts of buildings would you put there? Like, what sorts of blueprints would there be, aside from maybe, like, a new character or two, maybe, like... I don't know, I think maybe a new shot type would be fun to put into stage like that. I don't know, at this point I'm just thinking out loud, because at the moment my thought process is just along the lines of, wouldn't it be cool to have more ball pit? And then everything that I'm sharing at this point is just based off of that. Just, my god, I like having a game that's based off of Arkanoid and Breakout. Wouldn't it be nice to have more of that? Yeah, you're not really getting this sort of gaming experience from, you know, from AAA publishers and developers. So this is my daily reminder to support independent games. They're worth your time and respect. And especially if you don't like the direction that the mainstream AAA games industry is going, then maybe it's time to not support the AAA game industry. It really is that easy. What's particularly difficult about reconciling that for me personally is that I've been a Nintendo guy my entire life, and just what they've been doing lately is just practices that I can't support. It's like their game cards, the Pal World lawsuit, which, yeah, I'm not big on survival games, so Pal World isn't exactly high up on my list, but yeah, I'm taking way too much damage here. Hey! Evils. Okay, yeah, this character is really tough to fight this boss with. Again, you don't realize how much of your damage is based upon those baby balls until you don't have them. Like, normally the best way to handle these enemy shots is just to bounce your baby balls off of them, but this character doesn't have them. let's also not forget that part of why I'm not doing so great right now is because of bad early run decisions. Away. Oh my goodness. I would sure like it if these seeking shots were to go away now. Oh, cool, I got him. And look at that, so every character you beat this boss with ends up going into this spaceship, which, I don't know, to me that just makes it really easy to conceive of there being a... makes it really easy for me to conceive of there being, like, a color out of space level, if you guys know what I'm saying. And then the Abyss Trophy would... Like, I'm not sure 100% what it would do, but, you know, that's not for me to decide. And here we can see that my Holy Laser combined... Yeah, my Holy Laser that I combined with Light is clearly responsible for most of my damage. But yeah, that is the Void stage, and honestly, I think the stage is really cool. Like, I like the soundtrack to it, I like the idea behind it. I do wish that... Like, it feels weird that the last stage in the game isn't the one that's the most difficult, but that's completely subjective, and I'm aware of that. Alright, I'm just gonna put these gold mines over here. Like, maybe we can finagle them in here somehow to make it so that they're... Not really. I have to rearrange some buildings to find a way to fit them in order to make them... in order to make it so that the mansion here makes them worth any money. I can fit one in. We're going to do that. And... is there a way to edge this one in here? It should be, but God, I don't know how I would do it. I don't know, maybe I come back to that later. Because maybe what we would like to see is a little bit more Void action. I don't know if anyone actually wants to see that, but I'm enjoying playing the game, so I'm willing to play more Void for you guys. But first, let's upgrade some of our buildings. Like, we're gonna upgrade you. We're gonna upgrade you. Not worried about health. Intelligence, yes. Strength, yes. Leadership, yes. Honestly, if I have the... Alright, so now we need to bundle all of these around the Iron Fortress so that I can level them all up at once. There we go. That's 3. 4. 5. 6. All right, cool. All right, now we might as well. Well, no, because I want the stat bonuses from. I have no idea how I originally set them up, and honestly, it doesn't matter that much. As long as I'm getting all my stat bonuses, that's the important part. Hospital, Grand Museum, Warriors Guild, Wagon Factory, Marksman's Guild, Capitolium. Perfect. I really think I'm gonna struggle with the cohabitants just because of how tanky some of those enemies are. But if we can get it done, it would signal the last stage that these guys need to complete before I get the achievement for the cohabitants, so yeah, what the hell. Alright, so what are we looking to do here? I mean, they start with Broodmother, so honestly, one of the best things that we can start building towards is probably Nosferatu? That's going to require Mosquito King and Spider Queen. So we need Vampire. Need an Egg Sac. So 2 Vampires, 2 Broodmothers, an Egg Sac, and what was that? Yeah, you get the idea. It is not easy to make. Radiant Feather is really awkward for the cohabitants to do that. Alright, I no clue if I'm going to be able to get to that Nosferatu shot or not. It requires even more than making the Satan shot. I would say it's very strong, it's worthwhile, there's no reason not to make it, but oh my goodness, it just takes so much. Like, it might be better for me to focus on something else. As you can see, in comparison to playing a really awkward character, a character that has a much more straightforward means by which they work, definitely a little easier to work with. But again, I was making really shitty choices. Actually, I kind of like the idea of that. Take that. I would actually kind of prefer one of the side ones, but, you know, take what I can get. At this point, you can start to see how tanky the enemies are, kind of making this difficult. Ooh. Like, maybe if things work out well enough, we can work on getting the Deadeye Cross. Yeah, the thing that, after we get through the void with every character, the thing that I'm going to start working on after that is the Fast Plus tier clears. Because obviously, where do you even go from there once you've kind of mastered trampling the game? You master trampling the game faster. Oh no! Alright, so let's go ahead and grab Radiation Beam. Here's another Brood Mother. Grab that. So then we're gonna need an Egg Sac. Yes, I am still kind of trying to work my way towards Nosferatu. For those of you that don't know, Nosferatu is probably the one ball that takes the most to get towards. You know, bomb plus poison making nuclear bomb. Okay, that's a little tricky. But it's not an absolute nightmare to make. Satan requires you to combine Succubus and Incubus, which involves having Vampire, Dark, and 2 charms. That's still not bad in comparison, though. Because in order to make Nosferatu, you have to combine Mosquito King, Spider Queen, and Vampire Lord. Which means you need blood, 2 vampires, 2 broodmothers, and an egg sac. Which, I don't know, for the effort, I honestly think that Satan and Nuclear Bomb are still way better than Nosferatu. That doesn't mean Nosferatu is weak, it just means its effects are far less, like, flashy and big than, you know, Satan or the other one. Okay, let's... do that. Oh, hello. Okay, so we can definitely make the Deadeye's Cross once we get the other 2 pieces of it to level 3. And actually, I can take this now because I wanted to... Never mind, I just realized the Radiation Beam wasn't all the way leveled up. Oh, that was kind of a waste, actually. I should have gotten a level up first. Yeah, just based off the RNG I'm getting, I don't think I'm going to be able to make the Nosferatu shot. Like I said, it requires 3 evolutions and then maxing out the evolutions levels to get the shot. Like, it's one of those things where you have to either get super lucky with your RNG, or you need to just get things happening, like basically, you need it to happen, like, start happening pretty early. Oh, hello. As you can see, even with me giving myself a whole bunch of stats to try to smash through all the enemies with, these enemies are still really tanky. I also find myself, like, occasionally just walking into them by accident. We can make the Deadeye's Cross. Let's just do that. Now, if you see by the arrangement, by how they're sitting, it makes me think that in the future of the game, there's going to be an item that actually requires all 5 item slots combined. Which would be interesting, but it'd be so difficult to make that it'd better really be worth it. Sure, why not? Just make every shot a critical hit. Oh, not evolution, because we want to fuse radiation beam with cell. Now, what I should really consider doing is if I'm trying to make Nosferatu, I should actually pair these two up with the character that starts with the egg sac, and just give myself a really big head start. But I've made the Nosferatu shot before with just a single character. I mean, it was this character, but still. Okay, so now we can make Spider Queen. Yeah, I need blood and vampire at this point, and yeah. So probably not going to happen, but on the positive end of things, it does, at least it does look like I'm probably going to get through this stage with the cohabitants. And again, we do have the powerful Deadeye's Cross. So. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get poison, and I'll try to fuse poison onto Spider Queen, because that's about what I have time for. But yes, I think... that's about what I have the ability to do at this moment. Which, honestly, you know what? Not bad, considering that I just kind of went on a whim. Actually, maybe I should put poison on Mosquito King. There's a reason why I'm changing my mind on that. The reason being is because this has a 45% chance of birthing an egg sac, but this one does spawn a mosquito every time it hits an enemy, so it's much more guaranteed. Just getting a burst of radiation on the enemies is working out quite well for me as well. Oh More poison. Alright. I better grab this before it goes off screen. One thing I've always said about the cohabitants, and I still agree with it now, is you should get status effects for these guys. I mean, status effects are strong in this game anyway, but the idea that their regular shots do half as much damage as everyone else's, on top, also it really solidifies that point. Also, on top of the idea that because they have twice as many shots on screen, they can apply twice as many status effects. So it helps them round out their very lackluster damage. And then obviously, because the characters are set up in such a way that... Yeah, we'll take part. But yeah, the characters are set up in such a way that their shots just create lots of the baby balls. Having like cornucopia or the two pieces that lead up to it is also very strong for this pair of characters. And yes, the moon has lots of health. And you're not fighting like the actual like satellite, but you're fighting a satellite called the moon. Darksage, the moon isn't a satellite. Well, what are you saying? What are you thinking a satellite is? A satellite isn't just a man-made mechanical object that bounces fucking phone signals. In this case, I'm talking about an object that orbits a planet or planetoid. You know, like a moon is on every other planet. %80 more bebe balls. Probably should have taken that as per my own advice, but I guess I just wanted to make sure I had all of my shots as highly leveled as they could. So I do have to think that having 80% more bebe balls out there would probably result in more damage. I was trying to erase that, and I forgot I was out of banishes. Whoops. That's another thing I would like. Can we maybe get, like, a second, like, exorcist, or, like, maybe, like, a... you know, something along those lines so we can get more than 4 banishes? There's way more than 4 items. So it's not like you're gonna run out of things by having up to, like, maybe 8 banishes. Though that might also make it a little bit too consistent to get to what you want, and the whole roguelike thing might not exist anymore if you had too many banishes. As you can see, when you're not limited to how many shots you can have by, you know, not having any baby balls whatsoever. Take the wagon wheel. Just improve our overall damage by about 50% by just making sure every shot gets bounced off a wall first. We'll just become the Geometry Rangers. Oh, I cornered myself. Help. But yeah, you're supposed to be able to erase enemy shots with your own, but when your own shots are so limited in number, that's kind of what made this boss so difficult, because as you can see, when I have all these baby ball shots, there you go. Unpacked. Completed every level with the cohabitants. It is done. And there we go. I wish I could have shown off the Nosferatu ball, but it just wasn't happening. But I think that's gonna about do it for now. So I wanted to show you guys the infinite buildings and the void, and I believe we have done so. So now I'm curious, what sorts of things would you guys like to see for this game? Like, are you interested in more characters that have interesting, funky ways of playing the game? You interested in more buildings, more fusions, more stages? Like, what would you like to see Kenny, Son, and friends do? Comment below and let's have a little discussion about it, because I would love to see this game get more content. For now, I'm just going to say thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate you coming and spending some of your free time here with me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you take care of me.